President Trump's visiting Israel today during his first international trip in office, addressing the paramount topics, of course, terrorism, the Iranian nuclear threat, and assuring the Israelis that Iran will, quote, never have a nuclear weapon. Trump also calling for a joint effort to combat terrorism. Roll tape.
America welcomes the action and support of any nation willing to do the hard but vital work in eradicating the violent ideologies that have caused so much needless bloodshed and killing here and all over the world.
Joining me now, General Jack Keane. General Keane, I want to start with really the big news item right now is President Trump saying that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, although it feels like the deal they cut with President Obama was a de facto guarantee that ultimately they would have a nuclear bomb.
Well, I think that's actually U.S. policy. We should formalize that policy and make certain that the Iranians clearly understand that while President Trump is supporting this nuclear deal that we've made with these 5 other nations, and the reality is we suspect that eventually they're going to cheat, which will probably bring the deal down. But in the meantime, we will never, ever permit Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I'm thankful he made that public statement, and now it should become U.S. policy, unequivocal to the Iranians, that we're going to stand behind that statement.
General Keane, a lot of symbolism in the fact that Air Force One, apparently the first time a plane has ever flown from Saudi Arabia into Israel. And that you have a different sort of president here, one who's accustomed to making deals and who acknowledges that peace between Palestinians and Israelis and peace within the Middle East itself is a long shot. But that symbolism for a lot of people adds hope that maybe President Trump will be the one that at least gets this started to some sort of final conclusion that ends in peace, a peaceful settlement for all folks involved. What's your assessment of that?
Well, first of all, I just can't say enough what a seminal event this is, with the president going to the Middle East, the most difficult, dangerous neighborhood in the world. It's his top priority. And the fact that he's renewing and revitalizing the relationship with our Sunni Arabs and the Israelis is tremendous policy statement by him. I mean, it is all about walking away from the appeasement and the accommodations that President Obama made to the Iranians. Here we are standing up against radical Islam and appealing for an alliance, something we've said on this network for years. Now he is executing that. Not an alliance just against radical Islam, but an alliance against the Iranians. And that airplane, as you mentioned, flying from Saudi Arabia to Israel, the reality is we're going to need the Sunni Arabs here to assist with the Palestinians and to move the Palestinians in the right way. So maybe that is the symbol here, that airplane is bringing the Sunni Arabs closer to the challenges that exist between the Palestinians and the Israelis, and hopefully that is the case. Speaking
of having the Sunnis involved in the peace process, are you concerned of a Sunni NATO coalition that may call on America to come to the aid and rescue of our new partners in this fight against terror? Because obviously we're going to be leaning on them pretty heavily and vice versa.
Yeah, well, certainly they would ask us to do that without the alliance. I think what the alliance is about, and you pay close attention to the president's speech, it's much about them standing up and taking care of themselves. But what the reality is, the United States will be their partner. And the United States is not going to walk away from them. But he clearly wants them, if you have a safe haven of terrorists in your land, drive them out. Number 2, stop, and I mean stop, having your people finance them. And number 3, and he knows we can't shoot our way out of this war, he wants the national leaders of these countries and their clerical leaders to undermine the political ideology of radical Islam. He's asking them to do that. He knows we can't do it from the United States. We're culturally and religiously different. It must come from them. So he's asked a lot of them to take care of this problem, but knowing full well the United States is there side by side with you.
Real quick, General Keane, because you just mentioned, you just used the term radical Islam. That specific term wasn't used, but do you think the message was pretty loud and clear during the address to the Muslim leaders yesterday?
Oh, they couldn't be feeling better than what this president has done for them. and in terms of revitalizing this relationship. Whether radical Islam was used or not, I don't think it's a big deal. I know some people in the media are making a big deal out of it. I think he's called the threat what it is, and he's forming an alliance, and the United States is back supporting our allies, not just the Sunni Arabs, but certainly supporting our ally in Israel as well.